All right, guys. Welcome back to the channel. This motor right here, I ran down to basically Kentucky to pick this thing up to borrow it off of a friend of mine. I don't know a whole bunch about this motor. He doesn't know a whole bunch about this motor. So I'm gonna go through, I'm checking all the spring pressures, the seat pressures and stuff like that. Make sure none of the springs are wiped out. Make sure all that stuff is within a percentage of variance and stuff like that. Supposedly, this motor is another 10.2 deck, big block Chevy. Fingers crossed so that we don't run into that issue again, because I don't have a 9.8 deck intake, but I could run from here to Ohio back up into Buffalo, New York, and borrow a 9.8 deck 16 injector intake off of a friend of mine if absolutely need be, but I don't want to do that. That's too much work for a motor that's just going to be in this car just for uncaged event this Saturday at National Trails Raceway in Columbus, Ohio. There's 100 cars locked in. I paid my lock-in money, or the buy-in money, a couple days ago, and I didn't even have a motor yet. So we're just going over this thing. Supposedly, it's a 509 cubic inch big block Chevy, just like I had in the car. A little bit more compression than I had in the car, but that's okay. Not necessarily a bad thing. It is a steel block, copper head gaskets. Supposedly it's O-ringed with a receiver groove, which is, that's good news. Make sure that the head gasket's gonna stay in it. And what else? Yeah, it is a Gen 5 motor, so I'm gonna have to weld, I got permission to weld bungs for the turbo drains back into the oil pan, and we'll be relocating those next to the main caps so that the splash of the crankshaft doesn't block the turbo drains coming down into the motor. That's just something I do. So we're gonna go over this motor. We gotta pull the intake off anyways. I might do that once it's in the car so I can put my EFI intake on it for the turbo setup. And then we're gonna go through and just look over the whole motor, give it a good look over after I pull the pan off, and make sure everything's looking healthy. Then we're gonna cross our fingers, because I definitely didn't want to borrow a motor, but with parts delays and this and that, I'm really thankful that he gave me that opportunity. This was second or third motor that was offered to me to use this weekend, but this seemed like the most, the closest to a direct replacement to the motor that came out of Straight Gangster. So we're gonna get after it, see what happens. Well guys, here we are. Time to get out of here. Another hour, about an hour ride back. I got a spring tester and got a U-joint, some other miscellaneous parts. Maybe some cars coming back from Mecum over here. But got all my parts, I think, maybe-ish, to go through and get this borrowed motor back together and try to get it in between the frame rails for Uncaged this weekend. We are locked in. It's a little bit of a gutsy move, I guess you could say, to lock into that race. It is 100% buy-in without even having a motor in the car or anything like that. But we're gonna go over that motor, check it all out this afternoon, toss it in between the frame rails, maybe get it running sometime tomorrow, which would be Wednesday, and then maybe try to go testing Thursday with it, maybe Wednesday night, depending on how it all falls out. Thursday is a possibility, Friday is a possibility. Just do some 3:30 hits before we head out. So luckily Summit is only about an hour away, hour and a half away, and makes getting some of those parts that are just not on the shelf in many locations, get it done. So try to get back at it and see what we can make happen. Lady Gangster, MVP, Sexy Rexy will all be in town probably tomorrow night or Thursday sometime, and we're gonna try to get some testing in. All right, guys, right here, this will be number on a big block Chevy. This is number 2 on the exhaust side. So we'll put this tester on here, and we're gonna go through. I don't know if you guys can see it with my hand here or not, but we're just gonna check the seat pressure. That's 200, 210, 220, 230, 230 pounds of seat pressure. I don't know if you can see that spring moving and the gauge here. So if I could do this a little bit better here. There's 10, 20, 30. You see it moving right at the 230, 235 pound range. So we're gonna go through and do that on all the cylinders right there and make sure they're all within their tolerance. Good news, all the springs checked out. They're all within about 10 pounds. Well guys, this little piece right here, that had an oil pressure sensor going into here, but I needed it for my Dash 6 AN fitting for my turbo feeds. The turbo feed, the pressurized oiling to the top of the turbos. So when I was loosening that up, I had a lot of pressure on it. So I heated it up, started reefing on it pretty good, broke the steel fitting. So I need to run out there. I tried drilling it out, tried using an easy out, then I tried drilling out, it didn't all work. So I didn't video all that, so I don't bore you guys. We're just gonna skip to it. So I'm running to Tractor Supply to go get another one of those fittings, and then I gotta stop at the parts store because my reserves in the trailer are getting pretty low on Ultra Black RTV for the intake gaskets and stuff like that, and then Right Stuff, which is a really, really strong silicone RTV based substance. We use that quite a bit. So gotta get those pieces, and then yeah, probably gonna have to run to Napa in them tomorrow. They're closed right now, but hey, just got a video uploaded for you guys, so I'm running a little bit late, but hey, that's part of it. Goal today is Tuesday. The goal is to have the car running Wednesday evening. I think that's a plausible goal. So that's what we're gonna aim for. See what happens here. This motor should be pretty snotty. Should make some pretty good power. Guys, here we are. Here's the donor motor. Here's the Hurt motor that came out of it, but I need to steal this fitting out of there. This is the turbo feed line. As you can see, I went through here and I had to put in new plugs in here. Those plugs, they had these pieces in here, and they're perfectly fine to plug off those holes, but as you can see, when they're in there, they stick past the mid plate. So those would have came in and hit the mid plate, and that would have caused an issue. So this is water. This is oil off the cam tunnel here. These are, you can put restrictors in here. I don't know if this motor has restrictors in it, but it has ran the way it is. So we're not touching it. I was happy the way it is, so we're leaving it there. You can steal off of here for your turbo extra oil here, but this one here has an oil port right here, this big 3/4 inch plug right there. So we're gonna go and put, this is the one that broke, don't need that one. Now we're gonna put this sucker in here. That's gonna go in there. Of course, we're gonna put pipe dope on it, and then my blue fitting will sit in there like this, and we're gonna have to orientate that after it's in the car. So I'm gonna go through here, put some of this Loctite pipe sealer on there, thread sealer on there, put that in there. Then we're gonna slam this sucker in between the frame rails. A straight gangster. Making it happen. Putting the motor in by yourself definitely isn't the easiest task, but it's 100% doable if you pay attention to the process. You just got to go slow and make sure you're not pinching anything, nothing's getting tight, and it's just a little bit of a process. But guys, we greatly appreciate all of you that like and subscribe to the journey. Follow along on the YouTube videos and the Facebook posts and this and that and everything else. We do have full intentions of making it to Uncaged this weekend. Stop by the prison bus, pick up some merchandise. We have hats, we have posters, we have shirts, we have hoodies, multiple designs, and we are going to be doing a deal that is a hat and a t-shirt for $50, or a poster and a t-shirt for $50. T-shirts are $25, hats are $30, posters are $30, hoodies are $50, but we also have a discount box of gray Screw It hoodies that will be for sale for $40. We appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much. Well, draining the oil out of the car, Gonna give it a good look. Got it in between the frame rails, doom to zoom. But I gotta pull the pan off to weld in the turbo drains. So we're gonna come out here, drain the oil. We're gonna just scrap it, put new fresh oil in it, and check out this motor before I call it quits tonight. It's probably around, I don't know, it's probably close to midnight right now. And I wanna get after it pretty early in the morning so we could start this sucker up tomorrow. Well, guys, I'm not sure I agree with this saying on this shirt anymore. I'm just joking. I think I like this stuff just as much as anyone else doing it. But it takes a whole lot. You got to have a whole lot of genuine passion for what you're doing because, man, is it a lot of work. And it's becoming more and more costly in both time, money, and just dedication each following week. But this car is a pretty good car. We're hoping for the best with this motor this weekend. And worst of worst, we get to come out, we get to hang out with a whole bunch of the guys and the friends and all you supporters that follow this journey. So, guys, we're really looking forward to coming back out racing Lady Gangster, myself, MVP, and Sexy Rexy this weekend. Well, guys, looking at this mess back here, you wouldn't think the car is ready to start, and it's not. But we're pretty close. It is Wednesday night. I don't know, midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. I can't say today was the most productive day. I went back and forth to the parts store a handful of times. But motors in there, front plate, mid plate, all that stuff. That Extreme Automatics Turbo 400 sitting over there. That's got to get back in there. But headers are on, all that stuff's good. Intake's on. That should all be good. We got our fuel pump, we got our mandrel, we got our crank trigger. All that stuff still needs to go on. But I should probably wait to show you guys until it's painted. But I went in and added some drain backs. These are dash 12. This isn't, the fanciest pan ever. So I just MIG welded it, but it turned out all right. So, and I also added a oil pan heater that, since it is an aluminum rod motor, I want to be able to preheat the oil up to, 130, 150 degrees to get those rods nice and warm, because water temperature and oil temperature are two totally different things. Water temperature is kind of like a torque number, okay? It is just a reference number, especially in a drag race application. The way I'm saying that is because in a daily driver, when your water temperature is X degrees, your oil temperature is probably pretty close to that, and your transmission temperature is probably pretty close to that, because they all, a lot of times they share the same cooler. You have a radiator, but it also serves as a transmission cooler, or sometimes also an oil cooler. And you get what we call heat sink in your motor, meaning that once the motor's been running for a long period of time, all the heat starts to even out. You'll have a little bit of difference in your manifold air intake temperature and stuff like that, because you got the cold air coming through, atmospheric temperature coming through. But for the most part, your oil temperature and your coolant temperature starts to stabilize. In a drag race car, we want our water temperature fairly cool, as long as the oil temperature is up to par. They do this a lot on max efficient motors. They get the oil temperature nice and warm, 150, 180 degrees, but they keep the water temperature as cold as possible. And in some cases, they actually run ice water through the cylinder heads to make the combustion chamber as efficient as possible.